I always feel like I'm not very good with words or explaining myself as such, but that's my diary, Like I love to express myself by my crazy artworks, my illustrations.
The voice you just heard is Sophie Holt, also known as Studio Soph. Sophie is an artist and illustrator who works with different mediums, but mostly clay. For the last few years, I have been going on vacation to the same place with my family, and every time we've been there, I've seen Sophie's work in multiple shops there. And after seeing it in multiple shops, I bought my own piece of the Sophie's work. I have one of her mugs, and it's incredible, and I had to find out from Sophie more about her work, how she's gotten her work in all of those incredible shops, and generally how she has built her brand over time. In this episode, you're going to learn how to start selling your work wholesale, the power of joining a collaborative art studio, how other artists are getting help in their business, why focusing on play is the most important thing you can do as an artist, how to keep going when you've lost your inspiration, and so much more. So if you are ready, let's start the episode and talk to Sophie. Okay, welcome to the show, Sophie. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Thank you for having me, Holly. Nice to be here.
Of course. Okay, so the people in the intro listening will have heard a little bit about you, but I would love to know about how you started your business. So I read that you set up Studio Soph in 2015 after you came back to New Zealand. You can tell me if that's wrong. But yeah, tell me about how you started your business and what kind of made you decide to start doing that.
Sure thing. Well, actually, I started selling handmade things in the Netherlands when I was about like 17, 18 years old. And we had, the old Tupperware parties, but we did it with art instead. So we took over people's houses. Yeah, it was real fun. And I did it with my mom and a bunch of her friends. Yeah, so people would volunteer their house, and then like we would have like two graphic designers working, and they had a recipe book, and then so that they took over the kitchen, and we had weird art shows going. Yeah, it was real fun.
Yeah.
And this is when I started to make things and actually sell them. I did t-shirts, and I was sewing some bits and pieces, and and I felt like, oh, this is really cool to do this full time. So that's where I developed the passion for it. And so I came to New Zealand in 2008, and I was working different kind of jobs. First, like chefing and like backpacking jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my son at 22, and I had so much time left, and I was really missing being creative. So I started making things. I had like old retro plates from op shops, and I would just make really crazy drawings on them and sell them at markets. And and then I moved to Motueka and joined a pottery club. And from that moment, Studio Soph started kind of, yeah.
Amazing. I always love hearing from creatives about how they started things, and it's almost always is like, I was creative as like when I was younger, and then I kind of came back to it, and like it's
totally.
Just fun to hear all of that.
I love to do other people for sure.
Yeah, so you started selling your work, you said, when Studio Soph officially started here. You started selling at markets. Is that the main way you started selling your work?
Yes. So I lived in Christchurch when I got my son Milan, and I did lots of markets there, the art center, just like any art craft markets I could find. Gap Filler at the time was also there, and was fantastic. And you find, you create a little community. Other artists, that was awesome. And then I moved to here, to Motueka, after the quakes a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I found out about the Great Christmas Market in Nelson, joined that, and Paula and Rachel, who have the Beehive in Nelson, it's like a little co-op. It's now just run by Paula. Yeah, they asked me, oh, would you like to join our co-op? And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I started studying my work at that shop there, and it was like, from that moment, my business grew like tremendously. Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. That was one of the main things I wanted to ask you about, was selling your work in shops, because for the people listening, I found Sophie's work when I went down to visit like around Motueka, and and it felt like in almost every shop that I went in, your work was in there. And I was like so impressed. And it was great because I had seen your work. I'd kind of talked myself out of buying something. And then I went somewhere else and I was like, no, now I have to buy something. And it was
Oh,
great because it was
amazing.
everywhere.
Oh, thank you for saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, oh, am I saturating the market too much in this small area? I have to spread out a bit, but no, that's
No,
good.
it was amazing. It was like anywhere I go, I can buy some Studio Soph. It was incredible. So tell me about, like, since obviously it was great that they reached out and asked you to be a part of that shop. Since then, how have you gotten your work into more shops and kind of increased your wholesale business?
Ooh, yeah, the beehive was a real big one, and that was enough for me to keep up, because
Mm-hmm.
when you start, you just try to figure out, like, because ceramics take quite a long time with drying,
Yeah.
and at the time when I started the beehive, I didn't have my own kiln yet, so
Mm.
I was depending on the pottery club, so I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
produce as much work. So the next step was having my own kiln, and then from that moment, it started to grow. And then after Beehive, and I've also have Helen from Ink Design Store, but she had guilt at the time in Dunedin. But yeah, so I formed a relationship with her and stocked in her shop. It's amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so my handmade cups I mainly keep local. I sell them at Toad Hall Cafe here in Motueka as well, and on my website.
Mm.
Yeah, and I've just recently I started doing a bit more shops with my handmade stuff, but it is really tricky because I'm only a one person business. Well, I've got help, but I mainly do it myself, and yeah, I can't clothe myself, so I only have a small amount.
Yeah.
But I also recently start working. Oh, like a few years ago, I started working with Tickety Boo, and they
Mm-hmm.
do manufacturing and distribution. So I do also some ceramic cups and other products with them, and they do all of the distribution and trade shows and stuff. Yeah, so that
Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
There must be a really great helpful way to like expand the products you can make and the people you can reach and
yeah,
all of that by having someone like that.
absolutely, yeah. Because I couldn't do that all by myself at all. So yeah, Annalise is amazing. Like, yeah, I'm very thankful
Yeah,
to be
cool.
working with her. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was curious about how, like, obviously you have the clay, the pottery stuff, but you also have, like, yeah, the prints, like clothing, stationery, like so many different things now. So is that mostly done through Tickety Boo? Like, what are you doing versus what is Tickety Boo handling for you?
so what I do is the ceramics, as in so I've got as my one of my best friends is also my studio assistant. I hire her for 10
Nice.
hours a week, and she
Yeah.
hand builds all the shapes that I design. And because it's hand built, it's a bit the more wonky stuff, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I've got very locally here, I call him Peter Potter, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
thrower, and he throws all my
Mm-hmm.
shapes. So that's the my cups, plates, the more perfect looking work. Um,
Yeah.
and I just hand paint everything, and I fire it at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I do have some help there, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love working, like collaborating. So my friend
Mm.
Paula, who is also the owner of the Beehive, the shop I talked about before, she's a seamstress, and we collaborated
Mm.
on doing like coats. You might have seen it on my Instagram, but yeah,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hand paint them. So the idea was to become like a walking canvas
I love that.
piece. Yeah, it was real fun. Yeah, so that's what I do by hand, and of course the prints and cards. I hand paint them, or I use Procreate digitally. And with Tickety Boo, I am coming out. Yeah, just now I've got my new cup here, which is really exciting.
Cool. Yeah.
So I've got one we reordered because it sold out so quickly. Yeah, so I've got two new cups here available, which is really exciting. And like products like we have coming out with a bottle, like a stainless steel
Mm-hmm.
drink bottle, takeaway cup, like stainless steel as well. We've produced a beautiful handbag, and yeah, notebooks, those type of things. Yeah.
Amazing. It must be fun to think about like, oh, what's a new product we could work on, and how can I adapt my work to go on this new product in a certain way, like a handbag or a bottle. It's like, ooh, what does my work look like on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much fun. Like, I love it. And then because I see it on my screen, and then the moment that you get a sample, and it's super exciting. It's like Christmas. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
That's so
don't get
cool.
to make each product by hand. So it's good to have a mix of those two things, like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And not having your eggs in one basket is a really good one.
true.
Because
Yeah.
different income streams this way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart. And also smart to get help, as you said, with some of the things that don't necessarily rely on like you hand painting them, like, getting help with someone throwing the shapes, or help with like the distribution. Those are things that you don't necessarily need to be doing, but what you need to be working on is like the things that make it Studio Soph, like the thinking of the ideas and then drawing or hand painting the things. Like that's the
Yeah.
Sophie magic.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I look at it too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And so what would you say have been your either or both of your most successful products, or like your favorite? What are your favorites? What are the ones that are best for you as a business so far?
Oof. Okay. I will start with my most successful. Would be my. Can I swear on this podcast or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
My fakkelvak. So
Yeah.
that's my most popular one. So I made that one in a time where there was no root words to be found anywhere in New Zealand.
Mm.
I remember being quite nervous about it. I was like, no, I'm just gonna do it. And yeah, people loved it. Like, it's really fun to see people's reactions. They either absolutely start laughing because I do shifts in the beehive. See them looking at my crazy mugs, and they are like laughing their heads off. Or people are like, "Oh no," they just like they hate it,
Oh.
and I love that. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought, oh well, that's great, it's successful. But I think I've been making it for at least 8-9 years now. Like, it
Wow.
was lots
Yeah.
of time, and it's still my most best-selling mug ever. Like, not
Amazing.
making enough, which is really cool. So yeah, that one is my most successful, I would say, and my most favorite. It's so difficult because it changes, but with what I'm working
Yeah.
with. And at the moment, I just got designed new candle. I love candles, and it's winter,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I designed new wool, like wool woman and men that come.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
can't know how to explain, but yeah, they sit, they hang on the wind on the wall, or they can just stand up, and like a little tea light goes in it, and it's so cute at
That's so
night.
cool.
Yeah.
I love
They're
that.
coming
That's really fun. Exciting. Okay, well, maybe when this podcast is out, everyone can go check them out. Yeah, I have one of your my mug says tough titties on
Oh
it, and it
yes.
has boobies on the other side, and I love her.
Yeah.
She's great. Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, so many cool products. So where I originally saw your work was at Zappikin.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's how you say that.
Uh-huh.
Zappikin is like a collective art space, right, with multiple artists in there. You run like markets and stuff in there as well. Tell me and everyone listening all about Zappikin.
Oh yeah, Zeppekin is a beautiful, great old fruit picking shed here, and we started maybe 4 years ago with a group of artists who, like, cause you're very solitary when you're working, like I am. I never see any humans. Like, I'm mostly on my own. And
Yeah.
yeah, we thought it would be cool to have a shared studio space all together, and so we found this, yeah, old fruit picking shed, and it's just, I love it. It has so much character, and yeah, so we were working in there, and then we were like, oh, why don't we start a gallery in the summertime? So yeah, we did it for the first year, and each year that goes on, we get more word of mouth, and yeah, and we get more popular. So it's only open for public in the, as a gallery in the summer. So like maybe 3 months of the year, and then maybe one market a year. But and then we have artists in the residence as well. I think that's coming up soon too, maybe in August. Yeah, so that's, yeah, it's really good. It's a good.
Yeah, I love it. I can
Yeah.
imagine why you don't do it in the winter, because I can imagine an old apple she could be very cold.
Freezing. I had to do jump out, but when I was working there, I currently don't work there anymore. I work from home now because I noticed with clay driving it up and down in the stage of
Oh yeah.
too scary, and yeah, so
Hmm.
I'm working from home again, which is cool.
Yeah, fair enough. But cool to have the like the gallery space and like the connections and all of that,
Yeah,
and be able to still have your stuff in there is really cool.
absolutely. Yeah, it's very creative area over here. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you think, obviously you're not working in there now, but your stuff is in there. So how has being part of something like that helped your business?
I think it's mostly just also having other artists to talk to and what they struggle with,
Hmm.
and just bouncing back ideas. And yeah, that is for me. Like I don't have any colleagues as such, so that was that's like the replacement of okay, what am I doing? And yeah, you're not alone, in that way. And then yeah, you can help other people, and then other people can help you. So yeah, so that was mostly how it helped me.
It's kind of often there are, lots of very practical things that we talk about that are helpful as businesses. But yeah, you're right in that just being around other people and having the support and the, like, oh, I'm not alone, or I'm not figuring this thing out alone, and I can talk to other humans is actually makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so for anyone listening, if you are around in the Nelson region, around Motueka, definitely go check it out in the summer. It's incredible, and there are like, I don't even know how many specific artists there are, but there's a tons of different artists in there, and their work is amazing. I definitely have to hold myself back from buying all the things when I go in Sapakin, so highly recommend. Okay, so you've grown your business like through the wholesale side of things, through having Zapikin, through these different things. You've also grown your audience online, like even just on Instagram, you have about 15,000 followers. What do you think what has helped you the most with kind of growing your social media audience?
Oh, I've been lately quite slack with my social media. I feel really, but yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, it's like comes and goes in like how I feel and if I feel inspired to post. I'm not really like, oh, I have to post
Hmm.
once a week. I'm not never like that.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I actually have no idea in a sense. Like I just use like hashtags, and sometimes people share my work that I think from
Hmm.
like some those accounts who share other artists their work. Like
Hmm.
back in the day it was Artistic Mood, and the other day, oh no, I think maybe 1.5 years ago, the Jealous Curator, I love her. She
Hmm.
reshared my butter bitches, like
Oh
butter
yeah,
bitches,
yeah,
they're in
yeah.
the shape of a female or a male, and that
Hmm.
so many followers came from that, from because she has a massive
Mm.
following. Um, yeah, I think, and every now and then giveaways helps too. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. And has there been anything outside of social media, like other ways of marketing or growing your business that have helped a lot or that have been really good for you?
I think like what you're saying with the Zeppelin and with the beehive and doing markets, you get lots of time. Your customers are you're in front of them, and I always notice that
Mm.
people really like that. So I think that helps if you're around. And even though I don't really do markets anymore, but I still work at the beehive or at Zeppelin in the summer. Being in the space where your art is really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and people seeing you and have a chat, and yeah.
Yeah. It also sounds like from, getting your work in all of these shops, you said was a lot about like meeting the person, connecting with them. Same with like Zapican. It sounds like just connecting with other people
Yeah,
has been helpful for you, right? Building relationships, not, as you said, it can be easy to just be an artist alone at home, but yeah, connecting with other people sounds like it's helped a lot too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah, and then of
Yeah.
course people who's in that way, all my shops all around New Zealand are can purchase my work, and yeah, And these
Yeah.
days I'm a bit everywhere now. Like my friends came over from Australia, and she was like doing a road trip, and she's sending me all my work all over New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know all of the shops where I'm in, so that was really like really
Yeah.
fun to see. Yeah,
That is really cool.
yeah,
You mentioned that you obviously used to do a lot of markets and now you don't really do markets anymore. I know there are lots of artists who are either thinking about doing markets or they're doing a lot of markets now and are thinking about not doing any more markets.
yeah.
What kind of helped you or led you to decide to do less markets?
Well, like there's a of course there's the Nelson Market here. That's quite a famous one, and they have a lot of artists being there every Saturday. But I've got a son, and I
Mm,
didn't want to sacrifice my weekend for
yeah.
I wanted to hang out with him because he's at school during the week. So that was a big one, and doing only 1 or 2 markets a year is really tricky because I always like to have like lots of stock and different
Mm,
things, not just like one product. And I find it, yeah, I think it was too much work in the end. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'll use the places I've got as my little market stalls, and that's way more enough that I can handle making.
yeah.
Like the summer for me is so insanely busy making, and pre-Christmas, and yeah, it was just too much workload to do markets. But I love doing them. But yeah, I just had to I had to stop just for my own
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah, you got to balance the time, the capacity, the
yeah,
returns that you get from it. Yeah, and I love the way of thinking of the shops as like your market stalls now.
yeah,
That's a cool,
yeah. Because
cool way to
I'm
think
there
about
myself
it.
every now and then too. Like yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, well I'm here, and and you're selling other people's artwork as well. So which is
yeah.
I love selling my friends' work, maybe even more than my own. Really
Yeah.
think about someone's story, and then I'm like, yeah, and then talk to the customers. It's real fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. I love that. Okay, so you have now been running your business for over 10 years now. So that's like incredible to still be working and like running your business is awesome. I'm imagining through 10 years plus of business, there have been like highs, lows, ups, downs, all of the things that come with being a creative business owner.
Yeah.
What would you say help you the most when things are maybe a little bit difficult or aren't as like incredible? What helps you keep going and keep running your business and keep being creative?
Oh, what a good question. Well, I think, you always go through phases like that. And it's like,
Mm.
especially if you have no inspiration, it happens. Well, it definitely happens to me. I just have to write it out like a wave. Like you just, yeah, it's really hard to
Yeah.
think, oh, what if it never comes back ever again? Then, you get in such a spiral. But it always does. And it's just like, you have
Mm.
to work for it though. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you have to I actively have to go for walks and be in nature, and or just doing some doodling, no pressure, or what comes out of that. And of course, I just have my for example, the cups that I have to make over and over, like I'm a tiny factory. I have that. So if I don't have inspiration for
Yeah.
something new, I'm just like, okay, I'll just do what I already know, and then from
Yeah.
this I'm creating, and then from that I'm like, okay, have a bad time, and then hopefully the good will come again.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So I was gonna ask you about like where you find ideas and inspiration. So you said like going for walks, getting out in nature, kind of maybe getting into doing some of that more like not tedious, but like just normal stuff. But is there anything out anywhere else? Any other tips and tricks you have for getting ideas and inspiration?
Yeah, that's the main things. I think music and hang out with friends is always a good one too. Just yeah, bounce ideas back off, or just being with mates is fun. Go dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just do some fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. All the things that we've talked about in terms of like all the amazing things that you make, the like products you hand make, the stuff you make through Tickety Boo, like they all feel so so Studio Soph.
Hmm.
How do you keep things so you, regardless of what like medium you're working on or what project it is or anything like that?
Ooh, I think it's just my style. I like maybe my point of difference being having grown up in Europe, in the Netherlands, is is a massive part of that. I would say. I was brought up by my mom, who's an artist, and my grandfather and grandmother as well, who are all ceramic artists. So I was born with it. It's like
Yeah.
creative influences. I'm very lucky my whole life, basically. And I was always drawing as a kid. That was my favorite thing to do. My mom was doing her clay, and I was just drawing on, alongside her. So yeah, so over the years, I just developed my own crazy characters, and yeah, I always feel like I'm not very good with words or explaining myself as such. But yeah, that's my diary. Like I love to express
Yeah.
myself by my crazy artworks, my illustrations.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, you can definitely tell when you see any of your work, and anybody listening, when you go and look at Sophie's stuff, like those characters definitely come across. There's like a specific, you have like a kind of pointy, angular, like edges and shapes that are really you, and like the way you write words and the colors, I think, are definitely Sophie.
Yeah, super colorful.
So yeah, they all come together to make this like super specific, unique style, which is awesome and very recognizable, which is what we want as artists, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Okay, my last question is one that I ask everybody, is just, what do you think is the biggest lesson you have learnt about branding your passion throughout your 10 plus years of business?
Oh, wow. To keep playing is a big one.
Yeah.
Like I really have to take that advice myself a bit more. Lately I've been really, doing lots of repetitive things, and I missed it. So I'm have to take my own advice on that. Like just so with different materials and mediums and stuff. Yeah, I found that's important. Otherwise, it becomes like such the same thing every day. Yeah, I don't know. Like keep it close to yourself. Like when I'm doing my branding, I'm always like, well, I just use my own art on everything. Like with uh, yeah, and yeah, be proud of it. Just share it.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
I love that. I love the like remember to play as well. I think that's really easy to sort of lose as your passion becomes your business. So okay, well, now I have so many other like practical important things I have to do. And if you find something
Yeah.
like your cups that you make that are like successful, then you kind of get into this thing, okay, I've got to keep making cups, but actually you're not limited to just cups or to anything. You can keep playing. You can make a walking wardrobe, like walking piece of art with someone you collaborate with. You
Yeah.
can do whatever you want. And that's fun. And it's like fun for your audience to see too, I think. Like as someone, who loves artists, when I see them making something new, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I want to know more. I want to see more. So yeah, it's definitely a great reminder to have fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No. And it's really fun because my mom is coming here. She lives in the Netherlands, but she's coming here to live, and we are going to be working together.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, it's really exciting. And she does bigger sculptural work with clay, so I want
Cool.
to do more bigger things myself and really explore, make like more like exhibitions and yeah, together. And yeah, that's really exciting. So now I have to, because I've got my mom here to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, I just I'll just do the same stuff that I know, but now I have to do different things, and I'm really excited about it.
That is
Yeah.
really cool. How special to be able to get to do that with your mum. That's really cool. I love
I
it.
know.
That's awesome.
Can't wait.
Yeah, well, neither can I. Can't wait to see it. And I'm sure everybody listening will be excited to see some new big pieces from you. That's exciting. Okay, well, I will like leave all of your details in the show notes and everything so everyone can go and check out your work, go and visit your work in different shops and everything as they are traveling around New Zealand. But is there anything you want to tell the people, anywhere you want them to check out, anywhere you want to send them before we wrap up?
Well, I have, my website is just been stocked with the new cups, and there's a lot of new other exciting products coming as well. Yeah, and if you're in the area, just come and see us at either Zeppekin or the Little Beehive Co-op. Will be awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sophie, and thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion. If you enjoyed this one, it would mean the world to me if you could share it on social media and make sure to tag me at Maker and Moxie so that I can see and share it too. It really does help to get the show out there, which means that we can all work towards that Maker and Moxie vision of making the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. Thanks so much in advance, and I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, keep creating.